Hello everybody, my name is Mathilde Arnaud and I'm a French graphic designer and paper artist living in Marseille. I'm a special guest of the Tecno2B part of the art faculty in the design program at the National University of La Plata. I'm mostly known for my pop-up books, Black Cats, and also White Cats. My books are published by Les Grandes Personnes, a wonderful French publisher. And I'm here to talk about my work and my experience in the pop-up industry. Let's go! I studied in a French art school and I have a degree in graphic design. I'm practicing pop-up for more than 15 years. I started when I was a student, just like you, but I didn't have dedicated courses to this technique. I had to learn all by myself. At this time, there weren't tutorials, neither online resources. To learn and to be familiar with pop-up mechanism, I started collecting pop-up books to observe how they are built. I learned by analyzing and dissecting them. These books were my first source of knowledge. My collection of pop-up books grew up year after year, and I often consult them for inspiration or when I'm looking for some specific mechanism. Feeding your eyes with pop-up contents is the most useful advice I can share with you. Pop-up technique is not that complicated to understand. It's only based on two mechanical principles: the parallel fold and the V-fold. Everything else is just variations, declinations, and combinations. It's like a construction game. You assemble and combine different basic mechanisms to create detailed and complex pop-up. Even the most complicated pop-up is made by the combination of basic folding. Learning to read pop-up folding is a very great way to understand how pop-up is running. But the most important is to practice and experiment a lot. I also encourage you to create your own collection and library of basic systems, just to keep in mind the different possibilities and combinations. For example, in my work, I'm very interested in the idea of animation and movement, and we know that the V-fold is the best mechanism to create that kind of result. So I've made a collection of little pop-up cards that explore all the possibilities. This collection of pop-up cards is a great tool that helps me to visualize possibilities and find quickly the mechanism I need. The question I hear frequently is it possible to pursue a career in pop-up and make a living from it? Well, the answer is both yes and no. Yes, because I succeed in living from my heart, and also no, because I'm not just living on pop-up making. My work is the addition of personal creative projects, commissions, and also mediation and workshop with kids and students. So I'm used to work for brands or agencies that want to develop original communication supports. They always ask me for pop-up, but most of the time they don't have the budget for that. Pop-up is very expensive to manufacture. At the printing house, machine can print, cut, and mark creases, the folding lines. But to build and assemble the pop-up, it's only made by hand, manually, and it takes time. And I'm sure that you know that time is money. This handmade step is the reason why pop-up is such expensive to produce. More the pop-up is complex, more the cost of manufacturing is high. And it's not easy to find clients able to pay the price for that, unless you work with big brands or big companies. But it's always possible to find solutions to create simple pop-up that don't cost too much. For example, let me introduce this little book made during an art residency. This project was a kind of commission because I was in residency to create a book for them. For this project, we had to produce 4,000 books, and for sure the budget was very low. But I really wanted to make pop-up for this project, so I work on finding solutions to reduce the cost of manufacturing. First, I've decided to use Kirigami system, which means that the pop-up is integrated in the paper sheets, contrary to Black Cat, where the pop-up elements are sticked in the page. By this way, I avoided all the actions of gluing, and that's reduced the cost a lot. Then, as paper is expensive too, I designed my book on one single page. There is no glue, no binding, just one folding page. This project is a good example to show that any constraints can stimulate creativity and let appearing some unexpected ideas. Perhaps your approach is motivated by the desire of making single complex pop-up design entirely handmade. If it's the case, assume yourself as an artist and work on exhibition or with galleries and earn money to the sales of your art pieces. But the most common application of pop-up is in the publishing industry. You can submit any pop-up project to a publisher, but it's better if you find the right publisher who is used to work on pop-up. For example, my publisher is very well known for her pop-up book collection, and she's very good at managing manufacturing. It's very comfortable. I only focus on creating with the guarantee of a high-quality result. I'm used to work on the entire project from A to Z. Illustration, pop-up, text, even layout. My publisher trusts me and lets me free to work as I wish. Most of the time, I directly start designing the pop-up on my computer. Then I print and cut my elements to shape my pop-up in order to check if everything is working. Otherwise, I correct my design and then I try again until it works perfectly. For some projects, I also use a cutting machine. This tool is not essential, but it's very useful when I have to produce a lot of copies of the same element or for making mock-up, for example. If you have a publishing project, I advise you to design the whole project before submitting to a publisher. It doesn't mean that the book has to be finished, but don't come just with an idea. It's better to have mock-ups, text, sketches, or any other elements to give credibility to your work. You are not obliged to manage the project all by yourself. You can also work with an author or an illustrator and submit the project as a team. Or just submit the pop-up idea, and if the publisher is interested, he will find the illustrator and the author for you. But about publishing industry, it's important to know that people who make books earn more or less €1 per book sold. And if you are a team, you share it. Obviously, it's not enough to live on, unless you sell hundreds of thousands of books. Otherwise, you have to work on other projects or commissions to put food in your plate. In addition to commissions and publishing projects, I run pop-up workshops in order to share my skill and create pop-up projects with children, students, adults. I really like these times. Mediation and workshop are an important part of my work. It's the perfect balance to the time I spend alone on my personal pop-up projects, and I need both to be fulfilled. I think it's time to conclude. So what I love in pop-up design is all the possibility you can make with it. And I'm pretty sure there are much more applications than ones I've already explored. Each project is a new challenge and it's very exciting. If you want to see again the work I showed you in this video or find out more of my paperworks, you can check my Instagram profile and follow me. I hope this was interesting to you and that you are now super motivated to create amazing pop-up projects. Keep creating, keep experimenting, and long life to pop-up!